Hello everybody and welcome to Monza, the sixth round of the 2017 Euro Formula Open. We're getting towards the business end of the season where it comes to paying out championships, and every point means everything. So, double-header weekend as ever here at the Cathedral of Speed, which often produces some of the very best racing that we have in the category, and a large field, 21 cars taking to the track for this 30-minute qualifying session. So you join myself, Ben Evans, on an overcast morning here in Monza, but fortunately rain is not forecast, and it's not too breezy either, so perfect conditions in many respects, some quick lap times and some excellent racing. Now, the way these sessions normally play out is that the drivers will use the first half of the session, so the banker time on older scrubbed-in tyres from free practice, make sure the car is working as they want it to, make sure they've got the car set up as they want it to. They'll have a little bit of a shootout in the second half of the session. Of course, the trick here at Monza isn't just to set a quick lap time, it's also to get a tow from your quick rivals, which means in the slipstream you might get a little bit of benefit. So in terms of the championship so far this year, well, it has really all been about one man. Harrison Scott, victorious in 8 of the 10 races that we have had so far this season. And that means he comes into the weekend with a 102-point advantage over Nikita Troitsky, who is currently second in the championship and leading the rookie championship standings, with the Mayor Vida Neithen in third place, and De Francesco fourth, Thiago Vacqua fifth. There in the blue and yellow helmet is the championship leader Harrison Scott. Now, the way that the championship is decided in the Euro Formula Open is that the drivers' 14 best results of the season count, so therefore they must drop their 2 worst results. For Harrison Scott, that means he actually has to drop second place and a 9th place, and an adjusted point, his advantage over Nikita Troitsky is 90 points. As a result, it means that he can't claim the championship this afternoon, but if results go his way, then there is a possibility that he could wrap up the title tomorrow. For now, though, Harrison Scott and the RP Motorsport team focused on getting as far up the grid as possible. Though at Monza, this is a circuit where you can overtake, and so pole position isn't the be-all and end-all that it might be at some other circuits. Scott has got a new teammate in the RP Motorsport squad this weekend, and that is Yanni Fischer, the German driver, moving across from the Fortec Motorsport team. It was the German who was quickest in free practice yesterday, so that switch working out for him. There you see with the blue nose cone, that's Nikita Troitsky, second in the championship, the rookie championship leader. Harrison Scott following him round this stage of the session. We also have returning to the championship this weekend for the Fortec squad, Jan-Leon Schlom, who we last saw in action in Estoril, but the former Italian F4 racer knows this Monza circuit reasonably well, and he is joined at Fortec by Ben Hingley, who we saw make his debut in the championship at Silverstone, and he has committed now for the remainder of the season. So Ben Hingley, another driver to watch for. The other addition to the grid is the Chinese Daniel Liu, who has been racing with great success in Asian single-seaters so far this season, and he joins the BVM team alongside Daniel Pranenko. So that gives us a very full and very competitive grid. As you can see, a very busy track as well during this qualifying session. Finding the right car to get a tow from is going to be key. Finding the right track space as well is going to be very important. There is Guillaume Samaya, who made his debut at Silverstone for the Carlin squad. He has got one of the Fortec cars bottled up just behind him as they accelerate out the parabolica down the start and finish straight. Mayor Vida Neithen, currently third in the championship standings, one of only 2 other drivers to have won a race so far this year. That came in Spa back in May. Vida Neithen will be looking to take all of the Carlin squad's experience and maybe challenge for victory today as he heads through Curva Grande and then on to the second of the chicanes, the Variante della Roggia, before picking his way on towards the first of the 2 Lesmo curves that will then pen him out at some speed towards the Ascari chicane and on towards the legendary Parabolica. Monza circuit, always a favourite of the drivers, a real chance to wind the throttle, push hard. enjoy the high-speed swoops. Devlin De Francesco, just behind his teammate, Vida Knight, the Canadian, hitting a rich vein of form. So heading into the second half of the season in particular, De Francesco was very impressive at Silverstone at the start of September. 2 second-place finishes for the Canadian, jumping him up to 4th in the championship standings, and also means that he is now knocking on Nikita Troitsky's door in terms of challenge for the rookie honours as well in the rookie title. So along the straight behind the pit and paddock complex, then into the Parabolica. It's a debate raging, of course, over the past couple of seasons. Is the Parabolica any less of a challenge now that we've got that slight asphalt runoff on the exit? For the drivers, the answer is no. They now have got a little bit more margin for wherever it goes wrong, but at the same time, we also have officials keeping an eagle eye to make sure they stay within the track limits. Francesco being followed by Petru Florescu, and that tow benefiting the Romanian. He just sets the fastest time of the session, but only briefly. Nikita Troitsky goes top, but not for long. Harrison Scott, now the quickest man, with a 1 minute 44.9, 9/10 up on Troitsky. Campos Racing's Simo Laaksonen goes 3rd, then Hingley into 4th, Petru Florescu in 5th. Video on towards the Curva Grande. High speed right hand sweep. Certainly we saw last year. You can go side by side there. We had that absolutely fantastic battle between Ferdinand Habsburg and Leonardo Pulcini, the two of them rubbing wheels through the last couple of laps. Looking forward to much the same again today, with any luck, as into the first of the Lesmos, Harrison Scott. Still in pursuit of Nikita Troitsky. They've got, a car that's in a little bit of trouble, and that would appear to be Pedro Cardoso in the Teo Martin Motorsport car, and Cardoso's got some damage there. Look, you can see the rear left corner of the car is all out of angle. Now, whether or not Cardoso has hit something, whether or not something's gone wrong, we'll find out in due course, but certainly that is going to be a fairly long trip back to the pits. Unfortunately, another disappointing qualifying session for Brazilian. Troitsky and Scott perhaps getting amongst a little bit of traffic here. Quite the queue ahead of them. Just wonder whether or not Harrison Scott's going to back out the lap. Indeed, that is exactly what he does. As a couple of his rivals past him before turning in to the Parabolica. And there you see in the background the Teo Martin Motorsport car. Attempt to get back to the pits. Maybe it's just the wheel that's come loose, and that's something that's eminently repairable in the 20 minutes remaining in the session. Something more substantive, then the squad are going to have their work cut out. Across the line goes Mateus Iorio. And the Brazilian has had a slightly frustrating season for the Campos squad. Just one podium to his name. That came in the very first race of the season. His compatriot, the man we watch now, Thiago Vivacqua, has had a little bit more of an enjoyable campaign, currently 5th in the standings, and a victory to his credit that came in race 1 at the Hungaro Ring. Vivacqua currently 3rd in the times, 45.2 to his credit. Scott remains the quickest, then it's Tarun Reddy now who's gone 2nd, Vivacqua 3rd, Ben Hingley 4th, his Fortec teammate Yanni Ficci in 5th, as into the pit lane there comes Pedro Cardoso, and you can see damage to the rear left corner. The suspension looking at an angle that absolutely shouldn't do. The Teo Martin Motorsport squad get to work. Slowly shortly going to be getting to the end of these opening runs of the session. Other drivers yet to set an indicative time include Alex Karkozik, the Polish driver who runs the RP Motorsport team, and Karkozik currently 7th in the championship. Celebrated his first podium of the season in race 1 at Silverstone. Very impressive weekend it was indeed from Karkozik. Fitcher picks his way around Simo Laaksonen. Turns into the Parabolica. Troitsky now goes top. Scott immediately picks him. For them in the mid 1 minute 44 second bracket. Here comes Henry Fitcher. Remains in 5th, Thiago Vivacqua. improve his time. He stays fourth as he runs alongside Eliseo Martinez. One disallowed time for track limits, that was Taryn Reddy. The Drivex cars, who was briefly up in second position. He gets demoted down to sixth. Confidence level, he could potentially find another 0.6 of a second and probably more once he gets onto new tyres a little bit later on in the session. While Thiago Vivacqua slides the car as he picks his way through the chicane, then runs out a little bit wide, kicks up some dust as he pursues teammate Simulaxon into the first of the Lesmos. Corners that are taken at a much higher speed than possibly the angle of attack would suggest from the television pictures, and then accelerating on his way. Now here's another look at Christian Hahn having a big moment, well held, very nearly propelled him towards the Armco. He's going to lose the lap time, but fortunately not his nose cone. Shows just how hard they're pushing as well, because as you can see, these cars that have normally got plenty of angle on the front and rear wings running the lowest possible downforce they can. That is going to maximise the speed they can achieve down the long straights here at Monza. What it does mean though is that navigating these cars, which have normally got an abundance of grip through the chicanes and then the Lesmos, is going to be very, very tricky. With them running straight on through the opening chicane. It's good fun to watch these drivers, and indeed modern single-seater cars, where they're just having to find where the mechanical grip starts and ends, knowing they've not got that much aerodynamic grip available to them. So the classification then: Scott fastest, second Nikita Troitsky, third is Amaya Weidenathan, fourth Thiago Vivacqua, fifth Ben Hingley, sixth Devlin De Francesco, seventh is Taryn Reddy, 8th Yanni Fittier, 9th Petru Florescu and Daniel Liu, showing strongly already on his debut in 10th. Just ahead of Guilherme Samaya and Lodovico Laurini, Simulaxon and Cameron Dass, the American who showed great race pace. There he is, number one for the Campos team. He was really quick in race 1 at Silverstone. He got tangled up with Matteo Siorio in race 2. He could be a driver to watch for as the weekend unfolds. Pit's just beginning to have a couple of visitors as we move towards the end of this first half of the session. What we'll see is a new set of the Michelin tire that they all run on being bolted onto the cars. They'll come out, do 1 or 2 warm-up laps and then start pushing for times, and it's going to be very congested indeed. Daniel Liu pulls out of the train and then his line through the Parabolica. The BBM team always have a very competitive car here at Monza as the pit lane now fills up for those mid-session adjustments. And the two of them staying out a little bit longer. The bulk of the field peeling into the Monza pit lane. Luca Laurini continues on his way, as does Ben Hingley. To a halt, and up on the jacks goes Harrison Scott. Quick sip of water, and then we'll consult the tablet with the live timing, see exactly where he is. Nikita Troitsky, it'll be a case of plugging the laptop, checking tyre pressures and the like, and then sending him back on his way. Well, this is the start of a very busy 5 weeks or so as Yanni Fittier kicks up some more dust coming out of the chicane for the Euro Formula Open, because in 7 days' time we'll be back in action in Jerez before 2 weekends off, and then returning for the season finale at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. And somebody has had a fairly substantial moment. You can see plenty of grass being strewn around the circuit. Oh, there you see it, Petru Florescu. We'll see if we can pick him up as he comes out of Ascari, but basically the car looks like he has mowed a lawn. He's coming onto the back straight now, Florescu, but he had so much grass in the side pods. There you see him, he's about 4th in the queue by Devlin De Francesco, and that's not going to be the work of a moment for the Fortec team to clear out Florescu's side pods. He's weaving around, but he, there's certainly no doubt he's been off track. hopefully, because he's only had about half a lap or so back to the pits, he's not going to have risked overheating the engine. Everybody peels into the pit lane, pretty much the entire field now in the pits, with the exception of Daniel Pranenko, who will doubtless come in a couple of moments' time. So the classification then, Scott the quickest from the opening exchanges from Nikita Troitsky, then Devlin DeFrancesco, Nemanja Vaidanaithan, Tiago Vacqua in fifth. So basically the top five in the championship, locking out the top 5 places in the first half of the session. And then Ben Hingley in 6th, Taryn Reddy in 7th, but he of course lost his fastest time. Then Annie Fitcher in 8th, Drew Florescu in 9th position, and there is the Romanian. It's probably fairly safe to say that the circuit staff here at Monza engaged in some lawn mowing yesterday, as Nick Kouros gets to work cleaning out the side pods. Broom comes into play as well, so it's just Pranenko who continues to circulate in 21st position. I'm just wondering, Pranenko possibly in a little spot of bother. He's actually, no, he pitched in early, didn't he, Daniel Pranenko? So he's possibly on an outlap and going to take advantage of some clear track. There is the fantastic sight of the Euro Formula Open field lining up in pit lane here at Monza. This circuit, all the drivers aspire to race in later on in their career as they move up through the single-seater ladder, eventually to the pinnacle of the sport in Formula One. And this is the beauty of the Euro Formula Open. It's all about learning the setup of these cars, working with an engineer, really extracting what you can in terms of performance. So here is Pranenko. He's got the benefit of an empty circuit. It means he's not going to be able to benefit from the tow given by some of his rivals, but he will be able to pick his lines and get out of the traffic. He's just picked up a warning for warming his tyres on the track, which is expressly forbidden by the championship regulations, as he gets on the brakes, picks his way through the Variante della Roggia, and then on towards Lesmo. This his second post pit stop lap, so he's probably still warming the Michelin tyre at this point, and then we'll look to push on from next lap. And you can see just how much grass got strewn over the circuit as a result of that moment from Petru Florescu. It's particularly bad on the way through the second Lesmo. It's going to take a few laps just to clean up the racing line there, I'd suggest. And then by the time they get to Ascari, no dramas there. Really enjoyable sequence of turns Ascari. You then absolutely plant the throttle, accelerate out down towards the Parabolica, and still a lap about, just getting up to speed for the Russian, but then he will really push on as he swings out the Parabolica, embarks on another flying lap, or does he? Yes, he does. Sprints along, breaks the timing beam. That lap of 1:52, so still some 8 seconds or so away from what he could really achieve. And then towards the speed trap, looks as if he's not going particularly quickly there, Daniel Pranenko. Navigates his way through the Rettifilio. That's a lap he's certainly back right out of. Just look in his mirrors, we've got a couple of other cars emerging from the pits, the first of them being Cameron Dass for the Campos team. Cruises through on towards chicane. You can see the ripples in the road, the downforce effect of these cars under braking through a full season of motorsport. Bumpy ride for the drivers, making their way into the chicane. So Cameron Dass, Formula 4 champion from last year, has been front runners in the BRDC Formula 3 Championship in the United Kingdom this year. That series having come to a conclusion, can focus all his energy and efforts on the remainder of the Euro Formula Open campaign. Kubenko on towards Ascari. The side allows Das through. Daniel Kubenko is just hoping to catch a toe from Cameron Das. We'll find out. Accelerating out to Ascari, down the back straight. Michelin tyre. Careful with weaving. Mind coming up on the timing screen. As that effect is through the parabolica. Das accelerates. He's going to be greeted with a whole host of cars now on their outlet. There you see them all coming out of the pit lane. This is going to make for a fascinating conclusion to the session. Daniel Kubenko, while he is back into the pits, set a substantive time thus far this session. Now the track is very full, and Cameron Das is going to join right in the middle of that train between Rodrigo Laurini and Devlin De Francesco. So the time we've got to beat the benchmark at the first half session from Harrison Scott for 1:44.14. Almost 3/10 of a second back from there, so that's to try and beat. You can see the cars running together, all jostling for track position, hoping to pick up a toe, but at the same time not being caught out. Other people's laps is going to be game against a mouse, and whilst starting position isn't the be-all and end-all, Monza, still very important to be as far up the grid as possible. And now the game is beginning. They're all backing off, trying to find exactly where they want to be in terms of that train in traffic. Through the second of those races, accelerating towards Ascari. The train is Cyril Laxton, the Finnish driver currently in the championship standings. His best result of the year, in the second place in the Hungaroring, and Daniel Kubenko, a brief trip through the pits, is now back on track and up to speed. So with the exception of Pedro Cardoso, that early stage of the session, 20 cars, all jostling, fighting for pole position. There is, of course, a championship point on offer for that pole as well. Certainly for Harrison Scott's rivals, looking just to close that gap a little bit to Scott. Both these races this weekend is to take points away from his driver. There is Terry Redding, he's got his teammate Christian Hahn, sometimes just behind him. Currently 7th in the case of Redding, 17th in the case of Christian Hahn. Meanwhile, shoulders grass. He's just ahead of Nikita Troitsky. We've got Redding just behind. Troitsky navigates against Lesmo, not running with Harrison Scott as he was in the opening stages of the session. Into the second Lesmo. The racing line that it was a few moments ago. Get a little bit closer to benefit of a little bit of toe without being compromised behind the Romanian through the chicanes. He swings into Ascari now. Left, then the right, then the left again. It's going to kick around onto the back straight. We've got a couple of slower cars ahead of them. Troitsky continues to press on. By the knife of Guillaume Samaya. Back right out of it, as has Nikita Troitsky. Look at this huge queue of about 8 cars or so, all forming up. Daniel Liu and Ben Hingley towards the back of that train as well. As Troitsky picks up the throttle, turns through the parabolic. We've only got 5.5 minutes left in the session, and lap times are currently in the region of just shy of 2 minutes. They're only going to have a handful of cracks at this. By the knife of the one is dumped into the pit lane. Cars now hurtle past us on towards the Rettifilio. It is at the head of the train. Nikita Troitsky still pursuing his first victory of the season. It's only 1 for a year in the rookie championship. There has been but one race. Got to use that some standings as he navigates through the cover. He's got Guillaume Samaya just up the road ahead of him. Smile also having picked up the throttle. And goes straight on indeed. So Smile's going to rejoin. As Troitsky backs out lap, he allows Florescu ready through. Smile rejoins the fray. And seeing that many blue sectors so far around the lap. Indeed, the only driver who was quicker, set their personal best through sector 1 was Christian Hahn. Now it's the turn of Petru Florescu to move aside, and they're going to be careful here whilst they're all playing cat and mouse for track position. Time is ticking away. This is the gamble. They know a tow is really helpful for a good lap time, but get it wrong, you find yourself right at the back of the grid. Christian Hahn, though, continuing to try and set a good time. He now finds himself in ample free air as he heads towards the Parabolica. 3 3/4 minutes left in the session. Nobody currently on course to improve as Florescu backs the field right up. They all form in a queue behind him. And may well be a few conversations post-session here, because we've now got nobody prepared to try and pick their way past Petru Florescu, who, as a result, has no option but to regain the throttle. Or does he? As Daniel Pranenko comes scything past all of them. Guilherme Samaia also gets a little bit bored with it all. He looks to get back underway. Christian Hahn, meanwhile, didn't improve on that lap. He was about 6/10 off his best. Now, for Daniel Pranenko, he does need to try and set a good time here, and improves a personal best of 1 minute 47.5. Still, though, leaves him in 21st position. Now they accelerate through. We have got shy of 3 minutes left in the session. And are we going to end up in a situation here where actually the lap times set in the first half of the session from Harrison Scott, Nikita Troitsky and the like being enough to form the grid? So saving one last push. As they come out of the Curva Grande, Pranenko has got Thiago Vivacqua tucked up behind him. There is the Brazilian as he picks his way through the Variante della Roggia. Backs right out of the lap. Through Florescu, meanwhile, he's on his way into the first of the Lesmos as Harrison Scott just sets the fastest final sector of anybody in the session so far. Simo Laaksonen, meanwhile, jumps up into 10th. We're starting to see a little bit of a flurry of improvement. Daniel Lu, another driver who is potentially on quite a good lap here. Currently in 12th place, the Chinese. As Christian Hahn gets out of Pranenko's way, and Daniel Pranenko still looking to try and improve. He's going to catch Taryn Reddy, I think, as he comes out of Ascari. Indeed he does, moves around the Indian driver. Nikita Troitsky follows Guilherme Samaia further down the queue. Daniel Lu moves around outside of Petru Florescu. They're all about to start the final lap of the session. Harrison Scott, meanwhile, somewhat inevitably, there he is the quickest of anybody through sector 1, and this is what has happened so often this year, is that Scott just uses his experience, reads the conditions on the track, reads the traffic perfectly, and seems well set possibly to post another improvement. He sets a personal best through sector 2. He's up behind Simo Laaksonen through Ascari. Now, whether or not the Finnish driver slowed him, we'll find out as Laaksonen moves aside. He doesn't want to give Harrison Scott a free tow along towards the Parabolica, which is what Devlin Di Francesco has something to do to Jan Leon Schlom. Scott looking to improve on the 1 minute 44.4 through the Parabolica. Then comes Scott. He just about keeps the car within the track limits as now he accelerates. They can see that first white line. That's where they'll set the time. And Harrison Scott blasts through, and he goes quicker still. A 1 minute 43.8 for Harrison Scott. So he takes pole by almost 9/10 of a second. Yanni Fitcher goes third for the RP Motorsport team, and Alex Karkozik jumps up to fourth. So a good lap all around for the Italian squad. Scott's going to get one more crack at this. He's currently running behind Matteo Siorio through Curva Grande. Nikita Troitsky, meanwhile, also on a good lap. The checker flag goes out now. So when they come through, it's going to be to post times that are going to form the grid. As Scott scythes past Iorio. now try and chase down Jan-Leon Schlom and Devlin De Francesco. Meanwhile, Alex Karkozic is on a good lap. There is Karkozic. He's running behind teammate Lodovico Laurini, and Karkozic's just set the fastest first sector of the session. They're all leaving it very, very late to post their times, as Christian Hahn takes checkered flag. He stays in 19th. Nikita Troitsky's taken the flag and gone second, just 600ths of a second adrift of Harrison Scott. So now the onus falls on the likes of Yanni Fitcher and Alex Karkozic. What can they do? Fitcher, I'm not sure he's going to benefit from too much tow as they come towards the Parabolica. Karkozic likewise has backed out the lap. We'll find out. There is the Polish driver as he heads through the Parabolica. The checker flag awaits. Scott does not improve. Simon-Laxton does. He goes third. Yanni Fitcher reclaims that third position with immediate effect as the last couple of cars come through and take the checker flag, and not too much shuffling. And so they're all through to end the session. It's pole position to Harrison Scott, second on the grid for Nikita Troitsky, third to Yanni Fitcher, fourth for Simon-Laxton. Alex Karkozic takes fifth ahead of Devlin De Francesco, with Amir Weidenheithen in seventh, from Ben Hingley in eighth, Thiago Vivacqua ninth, and Terry Reddy in 10th. Luca Laurini in excellent 11th from Petru Florescu. Jose Martinez in 13th, Cameron Das 14th. And here is the look then at that full classification. So the front row, as it has been for much of the year, Scott and Troitsky. Yanni Fitcher and Simon-Laxton, a very competitive second row from Alex Karkozic and Devlin De Francesco. So several rookies well up the grid. Amir Weidenheithen in 7th, just ahead of Ben Hingley, Thiago Vivacqua and Tarun Reddy completing the top 10. And as we move into the second half of the field, quite a few drivers who we'd expect to see pushing through as the race unfolds. Good job from Laurini to claim 11th, from Petru Florescu in 12th. Jose Martinez, another good qualifying for him, to 13th. Cameron Das and Mateus Iorio, a fair amount to do, from 14th and 15th. Daniel Liu, 16th in his debut, ahead of Guilherme Samaya. Jan-Leon Schlom, Christian Hahn and Pedro Cardoso. For Daniel Pranenko, a somewhat frustrating session that leaves him completing the field in 21st place. So that is how they're going to line up. The race later on today is going to be waved off onto its formation lap at 3:10 Central European time, and it should be a 16-lap thriller. But it is the championship leader, Harrison Scott, who has once more set pole position. He further extends his championship lead. Will he be able to convert that pole into his 9th win of the season? We'll find out later on today. Until then, from Ben Evans in Monza, it's goodbye.